Today we're going to go over a graph that pretty much concludes the results of a research study that was conducted in order to better understand the motivations of the anti-vax community in Maine specifically. And so this is just a simple bar graph with three different variables. On the x-axis, we have encoded frames of news articles, which I'll go more into later. And then on the y-axis, we have the percentage of vaccine exemption related news quotations referring to frames. And pretty much what those two axes mean is there was a coding software that was used in order to identify how often a news article was accessed, as well as different words relating to vaccination exemptions. And these code words were kind of split up into different groups. And those groups were public health, adverse reactions, which refer to the adverse reactions of vaccinations, challenge to adverse, autonomy, which kind of just refers to an individual being able to make their own decision regarding their health, and then also government overreach. And so the third variable that we see here is the time frame, the blue graph being 2007 to 2014, the orange graph being 2015, and the gray graph being 2016 to 2020. And this spike in 2015, we can suggest that it was the 2015 measles outbreak in Disneyland that kind of stirred a lot of questions within local governments of whether or not vaccinations were to be mandatory and how easy it should be to get an exemption. And so there were some corresponding bills proposed in Maine to make opt-outs of vaccinations a little bit more difficult. And so what we can see from this graph is there was a large increase from 2014 to 2015 in government overreach articles. So what we can assume here is that members of this community were researching government overreach over challenge to adverse autonomy or adverse in public health. So this research was conducted by students, so just kind of take that into consideration when analyzing the data. And we know that causation and correlation are not the same thing, but that is what we found from this study.